When defeating Undyne the Undying, she leaves us with a message most people overlook when doing a genocide run in Undertale. Alphys told me that she will watch me fight you, and if anything went wrong, she will evacuate everyone. By now she's called Asgore and told him to absorb the 6 human souls, and with that power, the world will live on. But this doesn't happen. When you eventually arrive to New Home and enter the throne room, Asgore is still there, and he tells us, "Curious, I've never seen a plant cry before. You must be the one that Flower just warned me about." "Howdy. What kind of monster are you?" "Sorry, I cannot tell." "Well, we can always..." Now, there's no need to fight. Why not settle this over a nice cup of tea? Now, what does this mean to us? Why is Asgore surprised by our arrival? And why didn't he absorb the 6 souls and stop us from destroying the world? Let's start from what Asgore himself tells us. The first thing he states is that he's never seen a plant cry before. If you remember, the last interaction we had with Flowey was when he realized that we had become an unstoppable killing force and that he and the timeline would be destroyed. This means that while we were fighting Sans, he went to tell Asgore what was going on and desperately tried to convince him to absorb the souls before we could arrive. On top of that, Asgore was telling this lie by himself. He wasn't talking to us, which means he was still thinking about what Flowey was telling him while crying. Flowey probably had left the throne room when he saw us coming in. Asgore then reluctantly asks us what kind of monster are we, which means that he legitimately thinks we are a monster he doesn't recognize, since in the underground there are no monsters who could cause the harm that Flowey claimed we did. This whole interaction is crucial as it confirms Asgore is unaware of our arrival up until that point. Even in neutral routes, he still doesn't know that we were coming in until we enter the room. But in Genocide it's different. Undyne told us Alphys would have seen the fight and called Asgore to absorb the souls. So now the question is, what was going on while we were fighting Undyne that prevented Alphys to call Asgore to stop us? We are now gonna go over everything that could have prevented Asgore to absorb the 6 souls. As we know in the neutral routes, Asgore reluctantly fights us and even destroys the mercy button because he wants us to kill him. He wants a fair fight and he doesn't have the determination that led him to start killing humans to break the barrier anymore. So the logical hypothesis will be that Asgore didn't absorb the souls because he doesn't think it's the right thing to do after what he has done. This is probably what he's convinced about since he doesn't have the time to process or confirm what Flowey told him about us. If only someone warned him, he would have probably realized how serious the situation was and he would have probably absorbed the souls. Remember, he's still the king and he has to fight for his people. Even Sans, who never fought us in any neutral run, still couldn't let us keep going with our genocide. That being said, it will only be logical for Asgore to absorb the souls and try to stop us. Undyne told us Alphys would have watched the fight. We know that the monitor she uses to track us is found in her lab in Outland, but right after we defeat Undyne, we don't take long to arrive there. So logically, we should meet Alphys, but instead we meet Metaton. This could mean that when we sliced Undyne in half, Alphys already began to alert and evacuate everyone from Outland to a safer place. That's also why Metaton already knows what we are doing and meets us in the lab. With that being said, Alphys was probably busy evacuating everyone to watch the fight, so she either thought Undyne would win or she couldn't reach Asgore somehow. We know that by just taking a few elevators from Outland and the Metaton Hotel, you can get to New Home. So she could have easily warned Asgore by sending someone or even going herself, but she doesn't. That means Alphys intentionally didn't warn Asgore about us. If we abort Genocide in Outland, Alphys tells us she regrets not killing us when she had the chance. That probably means she knew what was going on, but she didn't warn Asgore to kill us, for the reason we are gonna talk about now. To understand, let's talk about save files and timelines in Undertale. When someone determined enough gets the ability to reset, they can't reset back from the point they gained the ability, except for Asriel who absorbs everyone. Remember that Sans is aware of this fact, and intentionally fights us in Genocide because he knows that after we are done, we'll probably not reset and Papyrus will stay dead. That's the whole point of his fight, to make you give up and bring everyone back, but Alphys doesn't know this. So we can assume Sans told Alphys not to warn Asgore, so he could fight us instead and make us give up, hoping that he alone would be enough to stop us. Let's now resume why Asgore eventually didn't end up absorbing the souls. He doesn't want to fight us to death, he's unaware of our threat, Alphys doesn't warn him to have the chance of resetting the timeline. These are the most plausible answers on why he wouldn't fight us in Genocide. But what if he did? What if Asgore absorbed the 6 human souls? Let's remember what happened to Asriel when he absorbed Kera's soul. he became powerful and was able to cross the barrier. Now, when he absorbed all 6 souls as a flower, he became God, with the ability of resetting to your death. When he absorbed the 6 souls and every monster soul, he could have reset the timeline to the start of the game. So we can assume that if Asgore had absorbed the 6 human souls, he would have also turned into God, powers equal to Flowey's. But given your LV in Genocide, you will not be able to reset since your determination overrides this. If that happened, we would have fought Asgore right after fighting Sans, making a whole new boss battle with Asgore having insane HP. In gameplay terms, this will technically be possible to beat since we canonically one-shot him with 99999 damage, and it will turn into an insane fight even harder than Sans. But it seems like Toby was going for a totally different direction, making the player become unstoppable and proving it by just one-shotting Asgore and making Sans the final boss of Genocide. So now we have looked at the various reasons why Asgore didn't absorb the 6 souls. I believe Toby made the right decision on not making Asgore an actual boss fight, or else Sans would have been overshadowed and the game would have not broken the internet as it did with the Sans battle. So this was all I had to say. Hopefully it made sense, but if I missed anything, definitely let me know.